Dyatlov Pass, paranormal or tragedy, unraveling the mystery. Imagine a frozen wilderness, where the wind screams through jagged peaks and the snow buries all traces of life. In February 1959, 9 young Soviet hikers ventured into the Ural Mountains, chasing adventure and the thrill of conquest. They were experienced, fearless, and ready to face the harsh Russian winter. But something went horribly wrong on a remote slope known as Dead Mountain. Their bodies were found weeks later, scattered in the snow, some half-naked, others mutilated, with no clear explanation for their deaths. This is the Dyatlov Pass incident, a true crime mystery that has haunted investigators, conspiracy theorists, and thrill seekers for over 6 decades. Was it a natural disaster, a government cover-up, or something paranormal lurking in the mountains? Welcome to an unsolved mystery that will chill you to the bone. Settle in, because we're trekking into the heart of the Dyatlov Pass, where the truth is as elusive as the shadows in the snow. This isn't just a story of a mountain tragedy, it's a puzzle that defies logic, a tale that blends fact, fear, and the unknown. For every answer we uncover, a dozen questions arise. Why did these hikers flee their tent in the dead of night, barefoot in sub-zero temperatures? What caused injuries that seemed impossible to explain? And why does this case still feel like it's hiding something sinister? As we unravel this true crime enigma, I'll take you through the chilling details of that fateful expedition, the bizarre evidence left behind, and the theories that range from the plausible to the paranormal. So, let's step back to 1959 and follow the trail of 9 souls lost to one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in history. The Dyatlov Pass incident began with a group of young adventurers from the Ural Polytechnical Institute in Sverdlovsk, now Ekaterinburg, Russia. Led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, a skilled mountaineer, the team consisted of 8 men and 2 women, all in their early 20s except for one, a 37-year-old veteran named Semyon Zolotaryov. They were seasoned hikers, trained in cross-country skiing and accustomed to the brutal Soviet winters. Their goal was to reach Mount Otorten, a 10-day trek through the northern Ural Mountains, earning them a prestigious certification for mastering one of Russia's toughest routes. On January 25, 1959, they set out, full of energy and camaraderie, documenting their journey with diaries and cameras. The mood is high. One entry read, capturing their optimism. The group reached Vizhai, the last outpost before the wilderness, on January 27th. From there, they skied into the uncharted snow, following a route through dense forests and icy slopes. One member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill with rheumatism and turned back on January 28th, leaving 9 to continue. Yudin would later become a key witness, haunted by his narrow escape. The hiker's last known contact was a postcard sent from Vizhai, promising their return by mid-February. When they failed to check in, concern grew, and on February 20th, a search party of volunteers, students, and military personnel set out to find them. What they discovered would spark one of the most enduring true crime mysteries of the 20th century. On February 26th, searchers reached a slope on Kolotsyakal, or Dead Mountain, a name given by the local Mansi people meaning lack of game. They found the group's tent, pitch high on the exposed ridge, torn open from the inside. The fabric was slashed, as if the hikers had fled in panic. Inside, their belongings, coats, boots, food were neatly arranged, suggesting an orderly camp. 9 sets of footprints led downhill into a valley, some showing bare feet or socks in snow that reached -30°C. The tracks vanished after 500 meters, buried by fresh snow, but they pointed to a cedar tree a mile away. There, the searchers found the first bodies, Yuri Krivonischenko and Yuri Doroshenko, shirtless and shoeless, frozen beside a small fire. Their hands were burned, as if they tried to warm themselves as the fire died out. Days later, 3 more bodies were found between the tent and the tree. Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin. They appear to have been crawling back to the tent, their bodies frozen in dynamic poses, as if collapse came mid-struggle. Slobodin had a fractured skull, though not severe enough to kill him outright. Hypothermia seemed the likely cause for all 5, but the scene raised chilling questions. Why had they abandoned a warm tent without shoes or coats? Why cut their way out instead of using the entrance? And why were some wearing so little in a blizzard? The mystery deepened in May, when the snow thawed, revealing the final 4 hikers in a ravine 75 meters from the cedar tree. Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotaryov, Alexander Kolevatov, and Nikolai Thibault-Brignol. These bodies were the most disturbing. Dubinina was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her face. Zolotaryov and Thibault-Brignol had crushed chests, their ribs shattered as if hit by a car, yet their skin showed no external bruising. Kolevatov had minor injuries, but was found clutching Dubinina, as if shielding her. Their clothes were heavily radioactive, contaminated with beta particles at levels far above normal. Some were wearing scraps of clothing from their dead comrades, suggesting they'd scavenged to survive. The ravine was 4 meters deep, filled with snow, hinting they'd fallen or been buried. The Soviet investigation, led by Lev Ivanov, concluded in May 1959, attributing the deaths to an unknown compelling force. No criminal case was opened, and the files were sealed, fueling speculation of a cover-up. The Dyatlov Pass incident has spawned countless theories, each trying to explain the mountain tragedy. The most scientific is an avalanche, proposed in a 2021 study published in Nature. The slope where the tent was pitched was at a 23-degree angle, steep enough for a slab avalanche under certain conditions. A katabatic wind as sudden, powerful gust could have triggered a small slide, panicking the hikers into fleeing. Fearing burial, they cut the tent and ran, only to succumb to hypothermia. The ravine deaths could result from a second slide, crushing their chests and burying them. The missing tongue and eyes, researchers argue, were likely scavenged by animals or decomposed in water, as the bodies were found near stream. The radioactivity? Possibly from thorium in their camp lanterns, a common material at the time. But the avalanche theory has holes. The slope showed no clear avalanche debris, and the tent remained upright. The hikers' footprints were orderly, not chaotic, suggesting they walked, not ran. And why flee a mile downhill instead of returning to the tent? The injuries crushed ribs without bruises. A missing tongue are hard to reconcile with a slide. For fans of true crime and BuzzFeed Unsolved, these inconsistencies scream something darker. Another natural explanation is infrasound, low-frequency vibrations caused by wind over the mountain's ridge. Infrasound can induce panic, nausea, and hallucinations, potentially driving the hikers to flee irrationally. Yet this doesn't explain the physical injuries or radioactivity, leaving the theory incomplete. Then there are the man-made theories, steeped in Cold War paranoia. Some believe the hikers stumbled into a secret Soviet military test. The Ural Mountains were a hub for weapons development, including nuclear and chemical programs. A nearby missile launch or radiological experiment could explain the radioactivity and injuries. Witnesses reported orange lights in the sky in February 1959, possibly military flares or a rocket misfire. The sealed files and vague, compelling force conclusion fuel suspicions of a cover-up. Could the hikers have been silenced to protect state secrets? The presence of Zolotaryov, older and less connected to the group, adds intrigue. Some speculate he was a KGB agent monitoring the team, though no evidence supports this. A variation involves a botched military exercise with paratroopers. The hiker's tent could have been mistaken for a target, leading to an attack that forced them out. The chest injuries resemble those caused by shock waves, like from an explosion. Yet no shrapnel or blast marks were found, and the Soviet military denied involvement. Another theory points to a fight with local Mansi hunters, who revered Dead Mountain as sacred. The Mansi were questioned but cleared, with no signs of a struggle or outsiders' tracks. A more gruesome idea is a group fight or murder-suicide, driven by starvation or madness. But the hikers' diaries showed no tension, and their food supplies were intact. For those drawn to the paranormal, the Dyatlov Pass offers a chilling playground. Some believe the hikers encountered a Yeti or Almasty, a mythical creature said to roam the Urals. A blurry photo from the group's camera, dubbed the Yeti Shot, shows a shadowy figure in the snow, though skeptics call it a distorted tree. The severe injuries and missing tongue fit folklore tales of monstrous attacks, but no footprints or physical evidence support this. Others propose UFOs, citing the orange lights and radioactivity. Soviet UFO sightings were common in the 1950s, and some theorize the hikers saw something extraterrestrial, triggering panic or even an alien attack. The compelling force phrase in the report feels like a nod to the unknown, feeding speculation of otherworldly forces. A supernatural theory ties the incident to Slavic folklore, where spirits guard sacred mountains. The Mansi name for Dead Mountain hints at its eerie reputation. Could the hikers have angered a spirit by camping there, unleashing a curse? The slashed tent, bizarre injuries, and eerie silence of the scene evoke a ghostly presence. While these ideas stretch credulity, they resonate with listeners of true crime podcasts who crave the thrill of the unexplained. The Dyatlov Pass incident, like the best mysteries, is a canvas for our fear-soft nature's wrath, human secrets, or things we can't comprehend. What do we know for sure? On the night of February 1st or 2, 1959, 9 hikers fled their tent on Dead Mountain, leaving behind warmth and safety. They died in the snow, some from hypothermia, others from catastrophic injuries. Their clothes were radioactive, their tent was slashed, and their final moments were marked by terror. The Soviet investigation closed quickly, leaving gaps that invite speculation. In 2019, Russia reopened the case, concluding an avalanche was responsible, but the report satisfied few. Photos, diaries, and artifacts now public offer glimpses of their journey, but no final answer. The Ural Mountains keep their secrets, and the Dyatlov Pass remains a frozen enigma. Why does this mountain tragedy endure? It's more than a true crime, Casey, it's a mirror for our fascination with the unknown. The hikers were young, like many of you listening, full of dreams and defiance. Their loss feels personal, a reminder of how fragile we are against nature or forces we don't understand. For the 18 to 35 crowd, raised on unsolved mysteries and Reddit threads, the Dyatlov Pass is a perfect storm of suspense, horror, and mystery. It challenges us to question official narratives and imagine what lurks in the shadows of history. So, what do you think happened at Dyatlov Pass? Was it an avalanche that drove the hikers to their doom? Or did they stumble into a military secret? Could a paranormal force Yeti, UFO, or ancient spirit have claimed their lives? The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the world's most haunting unsolved mysteries, a true crime story that blends fact, fear, and the inexplicable. It's a tale that reminds us some truths are buried too deep to uncover, lost in the snow of Dead Mountain. I want to hear your theories. Drop them in the comments. What do you believe killed the Dyatlov group? Have you come across a clue or story I didn't mention? If you're hooked on true crime, paranormal tales, and unsolved mysteries like I am, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We've got more chilling stories on the way tales of vanishings, hauntings, and enigmas that will keep you up at night. If you enjoyed this dive into the Dyatlov Pass incident, give this video a like and share it with a friend who loves a good mystery. Until next time, keep your eyes on the shadows, because in the Ural Mountains, the truth is out there, waiting in the snow. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the unknown.